he goes through some interesting parallels in other ancient Near Eastern, so like Canaanite, Hittite, Egyptian war texts, where it uses similar language in terms of like wipe them out, leave none left, kill the women, the children, the goats, that kind of stuff. And Copan argues that there's an aspect of cultural wartime hyperbole that exists in the same way that I would say, like, the Toronto Maple Leafs murdered the Montreal Canadiens, right? There's an aspect of, if you didn't understand what I was talking about, I'm talking about hockey, I'm talking about a team. When I say murdered, I don't mean like that they were, like that we use these kind of phenomenological hyperbole in our language today. Like, you killed at your last set, right? Like, this kind of stuff makes sense.
Yeah.
And so in these kind of ancient Near Eastern texts, you have these levels of hyperbole.
Not perished completely. His son Amenhotep II made a treaty with them, so they're obviously still around and have a standing army. This is ancient Near Eastern hyperbole. We see this in the Merneptah stele. This is the earliest inscription that mentions Israel. It says, Israel is laid waste, his seed is no more. Huru is become a widow because of Egypt. Okay. Again, ancient Near Eastern hyperbole. It's saying these were completely wiped out. They weren't. It's just saying they're defeated with strong language. The Mesha inscription mentions Israel. It says, Israel has utterly perished forever. Okay, that obviously was false. Mesha did not utterly wipe out Israel and leave behind no Jews. They obviously were still there. This is just ancient Near Eastern war hyperbole. Sennacherib says, the soldiers of Hirame, I think that's how you say that, dangerous enemies, I cut down with a sword and not one escaped. Okay, so we see this throughout. Nicholas Warterstorff says in Divine Evil, he says, we can call it a hagiographic account of Joshua's exploits. The book is not to be read as claiming that Joshua conquered the entire promised land, nor is it to be read as claiming that Joshua exterminated with the edge of the sword the entire population of all the cities on the command of Yahweh to do so.
Let's stop for a second, because odds are that these stories and the violence in them, they're going to bother you. And if you're a follower of Jesus, you're bound to wonder, like, didn't Jesus say to love your enemies? Why is God declaring war here? So first, why the Canaanites? The main reasons are actually given earlier in the biblical story. It's that the culture of the Canaanites had become extremely morally corrupt, especially when it comes to sex. Go check out Leviticus chapter 18. And they also widely practiced child sacrifice. Go see Deuteronomy chapter 12. And so God didn't want these practices to influence Israel. The Canaanites had to go. Which raises the second question. Did God actually command the destruction of all the Canaanites, like a genocide? So at first glance, you look at the phrases used in these stories. They totally destroyed them. They left no survivor or anything that breathed. But when you look a second time more closely, you'll see that these phrases are clearly hyperbole and not literal. So go back to the original command about the Canaanites in Deuteronomy chapter 7. Israel is first told to drive out the Canaanites, but then to totally destroy them. And then that's followed by commands to not intermarry with them or enter into business deals with them. So you can't marry someone that you've destroyed. I think you get the point. The same idea applies to the stories in Joshua. Look closely. So for example, we're told in Joshua chapter 10 that Israel left no survivors in the cities of Hebron or Debir. But then later in chapter 15, we see these towns and they're still populated by Canaanites. And so what we're seeing is that Joshua fits in with other ancient battle accounts by using non-literal hyperbolic language.
We see this in Joshua 10:20. It says, when Joshua and the sons of Israel had finished striking them with a great blow until they were wiped out, comma. Then it says, and when the remnant that remained of them had entered into the fortified cities. Wait a minute, I thought the first part of the verse said they were wiped out, and now you're talking about a remnant. Exactly. Because when we see in Joshua's conquest about everyone being wiped out, every man, woman, and child, that's hyperbole.